Trade EGL says, can we talk about why you use bars, like OHLC bars, instead of candles, please? Sure. I believe that the most quintessential unit of monitoring great market movement across any time frame is actually viewing the market through the lens of rotations, legs, swings, right? Just to kind of show you what I mean. It's more of smoothing out noise. So for the session, we would have an up leg, down leg, up leg, down leg, up leg, down leg, up leg. I'm going to smooth these out, down leg, and then up leg. That's where we are. That is how I see the market. I see a series of up and down rotations, for which NADRO users refer to it as understanding the rhythm. So this is our rhythm. That's a discretionary process. You could make it quantitative, but not to get too caught up in rhythm. That's how I like to view it. So I'm not interested in some kind of candlestick pattern with beautiful zoomed in bars of, oh, look what's happened in this market, or, you know, whatever. That type of information is something that I think myself and most humans get sucked into and get really granular about and kind of lose the forest for the trees. So I scrunch in a bunch of data onto a chart in terms of how my x-axis is set so that I can focus more. I scrunch in those bar-to-bar pieces of information so I'm less likely to fixate on them and look at them. And I'm able to see the market more like how works best for me, which is seeing rhythm and rotations. So one thing to be aware of, short term, this isn't my full, contextual picture, but what do we have on the session here today in gold? We have the upper end of this distribution, we have the lower end, right? So anything in this lower region, until proven otherwise by something like a break and a retest and then a continuation from, we're really just running stops in a rotational environment. And that's what the DVA tells us. That's why it's such a great tool for traders to have on their charts is, theoretically anything in between this area and this area, this zone that I have on drawn on the chart, that's our developing value area. And when we're inside it like this, we have what's called a current market condition. And the current market condition in that case is rotational. And once we know the current market condition, we know what tactics to apply, how to handle ourselves, things like that, what trades we can time up based on the full read from higher time frames and context, because context is king. Intraday DVA like this, it's not what we look at to make all our trades. It's an execution tool to get access to higher time frame ideas. That is strong trading, is when you're able to frame a context, have an idea, lines in the sand, understand where things change, and then you have execution tools and tactics. S&P, from an acceptance picture view, is still accepted above our line in the sand for today, right? This little C period probe is not enough for us to say, okay, line in the sand, flip, hypo, flip. This is just a probe, as Jeff was able to do in the chat, taking out that weak low from yesterday and capitalizing upon that. It's always great to set profit targets in areas where other people are having to stop out and things like that. It's a beautiful thing. So far, that's just a probe. That's just some better excess at the lows. Still bullish from this region. Context is king. Always be aware of the context. Thought about banging into a little long there. It'd be sacrificing a little bit on rhythm. It's sacrificing, I'm calling the current condition imbalance down. The safer way to play this is going to be something more like this, where we now prove that excess, it exists. We get rotational relative to development value low, right? And we get some kind of pullback back into the extreme region here, to then go take out maybe the poor high from yesterday, right, around this region. That's kind of what I'm stalking for. Or hypo 2, as my time on the stream comes to a close, is going to be something where we really actually accept below this line in the sand, right? We push far enough, either with price or time, and then we get the retrace, and then we're looking for some of the lower areas, 64, 66. The lower edge of the CVA is confluent with that. So there's some confluence to go with for that area if we get this. And that's it, guys. That's going to be the plan into the afternoon and what I'm looking for in the S&P at least. Lumien asks, should the total cumulative delta number be used as a guide to be bullish or bearish on a market? Along with other NADRO factors, of course. Is this correct? Lumien, where delta is in terms of a raw, where is it? Like right now at the S&P, it's plus 2,000, right? Excuse me, gold. We're looking at gold, it's plus 2,000. Where it is in terms of its just raw basic value is one small data point for how we look at and use delta. We have contextual order flow reads. We have short-term order flow reads. There are divergences. There are various readings of capitulations or absorptions or, just all the things that people use order flow to see. But where we are, essentially what you're asking is where we are relative to zero, right? Positive or negative. It matters, a little bit, yeah. Indicators, algorithms, whatever, systems even, that's where they come from, is when you have those 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 hours of screen time. That is when you build those reps and you know what you're looking for, that's when you can start to apply some really cool math and bring out the, in an objective way, those rules and principles and frameworks that you've come to know as a trader. Try to put it into math. And even if it fails, like I could show you 200 examples of me trying to come up with different little tools, math-based algorithm kind of things to help my discretionary trading. Most of those things are failures. Most of those things end up in the trash can. Just like any other great creative process, guys, you got to keep pushing through that stuff. And it's fun. You get some downtime when you're managing a trade, or get some downtime during a quiet rollover period or pre-FOMC. Go work on some cool stuff like that. Enjoy it. Most of it's going to be a failure, but the process of attempting that's going to help you be a better trader.